Welcome to the Deep Dive. Today we're diving into something really important. I know it's top of mind for many of you. Crafting a truly compelling resume for the AI industry. Especially if you're like a lot of us who don't have that traditional computer science degree. It's a common worry, right? Feeling like maybe your background isn't quite, traditional enough for AI roles. But we're here to say that's often a misconception. And to guide us through this deep dive into what really makes an AI-ready resume tick, we have an expert. Someone who's not only navigated this exact path, but has, really succeeded. Their insights come straight from experience, and they've talked to a lot of industry folks to figure out what actually works.
Hi, everyone. Yeah, it's great to be here. My own journey, it started with a physics PhD. Theoretical physics, actually. So picture this. Theoretical physics PhD, right there at the top of the resume. No AI engineer, no data scientist titles anywhere near it. It definitely felt a bit like trying to fit a square peg in a round hole, Getting noticed by AI companies was, an adventure. But it taught me so much about bridging that gap effectively. So this deep dive is really about giving you practical methods and hopefully the confidence to build a resume that AI companies will genuinely notice. The main idea today is pretty straightforward. You absolutely don't need a computer science background to make a resume that gets you seen. Seriously considered. We're going to look at how your unique experiences can actually be your strength, your superpower even.
That's a really strong start. So, okay, let's unpack this a bit. A lot of listeners probably see a resume as, just a list of jobs, qualifications, something you polish up quick and send out. But you're suggesting it's way more than that. Why is it so critical, especially for someone, switching into AI from a totally different field?
It's critical because it's your first impression. Often, it's your only shot to get past that first look. Think of it like the 30-second rule, maybe even less these days. Recruiters, hiring managers, especially in tech, they're moving fast. They often spend maybe 30 seconds scanning, deciding yes or no for a deeper look. If you don't grab them right away, you're probably out. And for those of us without that standard CS background, those 30 seconds, they're even more make or break. You don't have that instant computer science check mark.
Right. So without that traditional label, you basically need to work harder in that tiny window to make an impact.
Precisely. Yeah, exactly. You don't get the benefit of the doubt, maybe. You have to really lean into what I call your other advantages. This means strategically showing off your cross-domain projects. Maybe stuff from your old field where you used analytical thinking, problem solving, maybe even some basic coding. It means spelling out your achievements really clearly, not just listing duties, and showing you're eager to learn, that you've been learning proactively. A resume shouldn't just be a history lesson of what you did. It needs to be a compelling story, a storytelling tool, really, backed by proof, obviously, evidence, showing your skills and your potential for AI. It's about building that bridge, from where you were to where you want to be, for the person reading it.
That storytelling idea is really interesting, and this is where it gets super relevant for everyone listening, because you actually did this. You made this leap. Can you walk us through some of the biggest, maybe most frustrating challenges you hit with your own resume back when you first started looking at AI roles? What did those early tries look like?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. My resume, like I said, top line. Theoretical physics PhD. Academically solid, sure, but zero official AI engineer or data scientist titles anywhere. It caused a lot of anxiety, honestly. I kept thinking, is HR just going to see physics and filter me out instantly because it doesn't say computer science? And maybe even scarier, are my side projects, the stuff I taught myself, which was my real evidence, are they going to take that seriously? Or just see it as a hobby?
Wow. Yeah, that sounds incredibly tough. It's easy to feel like you're just shouting into the wind if your background doesn't line up perfectly with the job description keywords.
Exactly. And that whole experience, it taught me something really crucial, something I think gets missed a lot. A resume has two jobs, really. First, it has to get past HR screening. Then it has to impress the technical hiring manager. And those are two different readers, often with different priorities, the HR person. Often not technical. They're scanning for keywords, general fit, maybe a clean layout. They're filtering out the obvious no's quickly. But the technical manager, they're digging into your actual skills, your methods, how you solved problems. You've got to kind of speak to both at the same time. It's a tricky balance. My first attempts, they definitely didn't do that well. Too academic, too focused on physics stuff that wasn't obviously transferable to a tech recruiter reading it quickly.
That difference between the two readers? That's a real aha moment, I think. So, okay, what does this mean for listeners facing that same hurdle?
Yeah.
Based on your experience, the trial and error, how did you end up designing a resume that could actually get noticed by AI companies, that could speak to both HR and the tech manager?
Yeah, it really came down to this Simple but pretty effective 3-step framework. It came from tons of research, endless tweaking of my own resume, and honestly just talking to a lot of recruiters and senior AI folks. Okay, so first step, clear job target. This sounds simple, but it's powerful. Right at the top, under your name, you need to clearly state the job title you want, plus relevant keywords like maybe machine learning engineer, data scientist, or AI researcher, natural language processing. This isn't just for looks. It's a direct signal to HR. This is the kind of role I'm applying for. And maybe even more importantly, it's critical for the ATS, the applicant tracking systems. Those software bots scan resumes for keywords matching the job description. If your target role isn't obvious right away with the right terms, the ATS might just toss your resume before a human even sees it.
Gotcha. So step 1 is making sure the machines and the humans know what you're aiming for. What's step 2?
Step 2, highlight transferable skills. This is huge for non-CS people. If you're coming from physics, math, bioengineering, even social sciences like economics, you have incredibly valuable skills. They just might not be labeled Python or TensorFlow on your transcript. Think about things like rigorous research methods, advanced stats, strong data analysis logic, designing experiments, complex problem solving. Even scientific writing or presenting complex ideas clearly. The trick here is translating these into industry language. Don't just list them academically. So instead of, say, research theoretical models of particle interactions, you might translate that to something like develop data-driven decision-making frameworks for complex systems, or applied advanced statistical modeling to extract key insights. Or maybe program simulations in MATLAB becomes proficient in Python for data preprocessing, statistical modeling, and algorithm development. See the difference? This translation makes sure that both the non-technical HR person and the tech manager can immediately see how your past skills fit the AI role. It closes that gap.
That's a really powerful way to reframe things. It's not just what you know, but how you describe it for this new context. Okay, in the third step.
And third, focus heavily on projects. This is where I see a lot of non-CS folks kind of undersell themselves. Often, people bury their side projects or personal portfolio stuff way down at the bottom, like an afterthought. My advice, put them front and center, right after your summary or skills section. Make them prominent. These projects are your concrete proof. They show you can learn, you can apply, you can do the work. And for each project, you absolutely must use the STAR method. Situation, task, action, result. It's not just jargon. It's how you tell a concise, compelling, evidence-based story for each piece of work. Let me give you a quick example structure. Instead of just saying like built a model, it's super vague, you frame it. Situation, what was the problem or context? Needed to classify customer feedback automatically. Task, what was your specific goal? Develop a system to classify sentiment accurately. Action, what did you actually do? Use specific tools and techniques. Use Python, TensorFlow, pre-trained BERT model, clean data, tuned hyperparameters on 10K reviews. Result, what was the outcome? Quantify it. Achieved 92% accuracy, improved on manual by 15%, reduced categorization time by 20%. See how much more impactful that is than just did model training. It shows initiative, specific skills, and measurable results. That's how you stand out.
That STAR method breakdown is incredibly clear. Thank you. Super actionable. So, okay, we have the structure. Now, what about some maybe insider tips? Practical things that can really give a resume an edge, especially if you're new to AI.
Yeah, definitely. I've got 3 quick practical tips that can really make a difference. First, and this is non-negotiable, quantify your achievements. Vague stuff like optimized model or analyzed data, it just doesn't cut it. It tells the reader almost nothing about your actual impact. You need numbers, concrete examples. Think percentages, time saved, errors cut, efficiency gains. So instead of improved a model, try improved model accuracy by 15% using ensemble methods, or reduce data processing time by 20% via algorithm optimization. Numbers grab attention. They show impact, even if it was on a side project or in a non-AI role. Try to estimate if you have to. It's better than nothing.
Right, numbers talk.
Yeah.
Makes sense. Okay, second tip.
Second, leverage keywords for ATS, but smartly. We mentioned the applicant tracking systems, those gatekeeper bots. They scan for keywords. So you need to naturally weave relevant terms into your descriptions. Your skills section, project summaries. Think machine learning, deep learning, Python, TensorFlow, PyTorch, data analysis, NLP, computer vision, SQL, cloud platforms like AWS, Azure, GCP, Git, things like that. But the key word is naturally. Don't just stuff them in like a list that looks awful to humans, and some ATS systems might even flag it. Make sure they fit the context of what you're describing. Look at job descriptions you like, see what keywords they use, and mirror them where it's honest and makes sense in your resume.
Okay, smart keyword integration, not just stuffing. Got it. And the third tip.
Third, Prioritize a concise and clean layout. This one sounds basic, but it's so important. Keep your resume to one page. Seriously. For nearly all entry-level, even mid-level roles, one page is the expectation. Recruiters are skimming, remember, not reading a novel. Use clear headings. Good amount of white space. Don't cram everything in. Use bullet points, not long paragraphs. A messy, dense, or super long resume, it can get tossed in literally 5 seconds. Remember that 30-second rule? A bad layout can kill your chances even faster. Use a clean, professional font. Keep formatting consistent. Simple and readable wins.
That 5-second thing is, pretty sobering, which actually brings up a big question, something I bet a lot of listeners wrestle with. That fear of not having big company experience. When you're trying to break into AI, it's easy to see resumes with Google or Meta or whatever and feel like, well, you can't compete. How do you deal with that comparison trap?
Oh, that's such a common feeling. Totally understandable anxiety. It's so easy to compare yourself and feel discouraged if you see those big names or people with straight CS backgrounds. But here's the mental shift you need to make. What really truly matters to HR, and especially to hiring managers, is clear proof of ability plus motivation. They aren't just collecting logos, they're looking for evidence. They're asking deep down, can this person do the job? Is there proof they can learn, apply skills, and actually contribute?
So evidence is key, not the logo.
Exactly. And this is where your side projects become absolute gold, as long as you describe them well. Using START, showing real results, it honestly doesn't matter where you did the project. Fortune 500, small startup, your own bedroom on weekends. If you solved a real problem, used relevant tools, and can show the impact, that's what counts. The demonstrated skill and initiative matter far more than the name brand associated with it.
Okay, but say you don't have any company project, big or small. How do you make those purely personal projects really shine and convince someone they're just as valuable?
Great question. You treat them like real-world assignments. Don't just, follow a tutorial verbatim and call it done. Adapt it. Extend it. Find a unique problem to tackle. Maybe something related to your previous field, actually. Say you're into NLP. Instead of just running analysis on a standard data set everyone uses, maybe find some messy text data from, a niche online forum in your old area of expertise. Clean that up. Build a sentiment tool for that specific context. Document your code well on GitHub. Write a solid Cratcher Vader. Read me explaining your process, the hurdles you overcame, the results. If you can, maybe even deploy a super simple version. Even using a free cloud tier. That shows you get the bigger picture, the whole life cycle. That demonstrates real initiative, independent problem solving, deeper understanding. Way more than just checking off a course box. Your non-CS background probably gave you strong analytical skills, right? Rigorous thinking. Apply that mindset to your AI projects. That's your unique edge.
That is such a valuable perspective shift, a really fantastic takeaway from this deep dive. Your background, your unique path, it's not a roadblock. It can be a real asset if you just frame it right on that resume. So what does this mean for you listening? It means you absolutely can stand out. You have transferable skills, and with well-presented projects and that strategic approach we talked about, you can definitely make waves in the AI job market. And speaking of learning, next time we're going to tackle what exactly is model training. We'll break it down using something you definitely know: cooking.
Yep, we're going to use a cooking analogy to help you really grasp the fundamentals of machine learning. Should be fun.
Yeah, looking forward to that one. And hey, we'd love to hear from you all. What's been your biggest resume headache, especially if you're making that transition into AI? Let us know. And please, if you found this helpful, subscribe to the deep dive. Maybe share it with a friend who's also navigating a career shift into AI. And just a final thought to chew on, really think about your existing skills, even the ones that seem totally unrelated. How can you reframe them? Translate them into the language of AI. It's all about that translation, that presentation, and telling your unique story effectively. We'll talk to you next time.